Substance abuse continues to tear at the very fabric of our society. Addictive drugs are more plentiful than ever, and the lifestyle of addiction often leads to crime and prison.
The first time I used drugs, I was 14 years old, was marijuana, and at first, I think I drank a little bit when I was younger, but I think marijuana was the reason I started using drugs and heavily drinking. At first, I didn't like it so much. I liked the sedative part of it, but I didn't like the way it made me feel in my head. But for some reason, I wanted to fit in. So I continued smoking until I really liked it, and it became the only thing that I wanted to do. Well, I first smoked weed at the park by my house. One of my friends, I was a freshman in high school, one of my friends, he was a sophomore, kind of wanted to fit in. It seemed like the cool thing to do. I smoked with him, and I didn't like it because I was paranoid. I knew I was doing something wrong, but the sedative feeling felt good. I felt lightheaded. I felt different. Just the adrenaline of it was good, and I kept doing it because I admired him, and I figured if I could be like him, I had to do what he did. And as I continued doing it, the paranoia went away, and I started to only see the quote-unquote positive things in it, which were feeling mellow, this feeling of confidence. It's just being different than everyone else, and sticking out of the age group that I was in, out of the kids that I maybe hung out with. I was different. I was like acting as if I was 2-3 years older. The groups that were older than us were already smoking weed, and I was younger, and I was already joining that group, so I was someone different. I was now a leader in a negative way, but to me it was positive, because any way I could be a leader was cool with me. I grew up in metropolitan Detroit. I grew up in a city called Southfield till I was 4. My family, my parents are immigrants from Iraq. My mom migrated here in the late 80s, my dad in the late 60s. And well, they were very good parents, very hardworking. They didn't start off with much money, and I had a pretty good childhood. I didn't get to see my father too much. He was working a lot, and my mom was working a lot as well. She was studying to become a pharmacist. And when I became 5 years old, they both got settled. My mom started to, she got her job as a pharmacist, and we moved into a nice town, West Bloomfield, a really nice town in Michigan, and we were very lucky and very fortunate, and I got to experience spending more time with them, and I was always got to go on vacations, and life was good, and I was very obedient. I did very well in school, but as I started getting towards high school, I started envying the neighboring kids who were allowed to do so much more, who had way more freedom, a lot more liberties, and I felt like my parents were too strict, and they weren't used to someone rebelling against them. So when I asked them for things, they naturally said yes, and I started taking advantage of their kindness. So as time went on, I realized I could get away with anything, and I ended up destroying my family by taking everything they had. I started getting through high school, I started stealing thousands of dollars from them, and doing every drug I could get my hands on. And it was a dramatic shift from where I came from and how I was raised. But it all started from envying the wrong people. And I ended up worse than those people, because my goal was to be the coolest or the best, when I had it all before that. Well, when I was about 15, I started getting very heavy into marijuana, smoking about every day after school. And my parents started to, they caught on. Normal kids don't come home and fall asleep for hours and hours and only stay awake at night. Got a little older, maybe 15, 16, and some kids were bringing Vicodin to school. Vicodin, Xanax, and I wanted to try it. And at this point, I was already really hooked to marijuana. I mean, at least mentally, if not physically, I felt like I needed something to enhance my life, to give me some type of fulfillment. And when I got introduced to Vicodin, I really liked it. I liked it a lot, and it gave me like a very confident, powerful feeling. I felt like I was powerful. I felt like I was smarter. I felt like I was stronger. I felt the opposite things that it's supposed to do to you. I mean, it's a sedative. It's something that's supposed to bring you down. But for some reason, my mentality and the way I felt towards drugs made me love it. Everything about it. Tried Xanax. I never had a care in the world. By the time I was 17, I was out looking for cocaine, ecstasy, other psychedelic mushrooms. I started doing LSD, and it became a daily thing where I'd have to do maybe cocaine Monday through Friday, and LSD and mushrooms on the weekends, whichever one I could get my hands on. And it was, I couldn't, some days like maybe 2 days out of the week, I wouldn't go to school because I was sick, and my parents would always wonder, like, oh, why are you sick today? Oh, it's the depression. And I convinced my parents it was depression. This is about when I was like 17, towards my junior, senior year, that era. And I convinced them it was the depression. So they got me to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist started prescribing me, he prescribed me with Paxil, Habilitat, and I never got any narcotics from him, but I was getting narcotics illegally. So I was doing drugs that counteract with it anyways, and doing those drugs as an excuse for my depression. So if I didn't feel well, I'd tell them it's from the medication, and it's some type of bad chemical reaction. So if I wasn't on the medication, I was depressed. If I was on the medication, I was having a bad chemical reaction. And really, it was just me doing so many drugs. I mean, I went through high school smoking 3-4 grams of marijuana a day, taking 3-4 ecstasy pills a day. And I would go to school. I went to a private school with for the most part, I like to say pretty intelligent kids with a good background, doing pretty well. And I would be the one guy that would be like, oh man, he's different, he's cool. And really, I thought that's what people were thinking of me, but really people were just kind of in their minds just laughing at me. But they would never dare to do something that stupid. Really, I thought I was somebody, but I really wasn't. I was just killing myself. And from there on, it spiraled on. It spiraled on after high school. Absolutely, they knew nothing about it actually. My parents were very embarrassed and ashamed of it, with the way they brought me up. But I couldn't lie at first. I couldn't lie. At first, I told the truth the first few times, and then I still wanted to pursue that lifestyle. So I just watched how my friends did it, how they lied to their parents, how they came from similar backgrounds, and they would lie, and their parents would forgive them, and how they could manipulate and take whatever they wanted because they're of the kindness of their families and friends. So I emulated that, and I became worse than that. I became to the point where I would point the finger at them. If something was wrong, it was their fault. It was because they were not doing the right thing. And if I was having any issues, personal issues, physical issues, it's their fault. It's because they're not providing me with the right support. It's because I'm having trouble with make up an excuse. I'm having trouble because my father is not around enough, because school is too difficult, so I need Adderall. And that's why I'm acting different, because I'm getting Adderall from kids. So come get me some Adderall. I need some prescribed. That's what I need, Mom. And I convinced them of all these lies, when really it was just the drugs messing with me. And at that point, I was willing to try anything. I was willing to do anything because I was so selfish. I entitled myself to the point where I figured, my family is, to their eyes, I can do no wrong, do no evil. And at that point, when I realized that, when I seen other people doing that and that I could do that, when I realized that, I didn't set any limits on myself, and I was willing to do anything and try anything because it was fun. There were no consequences because my parents sheltered me from the police, sheltered me from any of the results of any of my bad actions. I was intelligent enough to pull it off really good grades in school up until college, and I took advantage of the people that loved me until it ran out. And when it ran out, everything caught up in the end. And pretty much I did a good job destroying most of my family and friends' lives, the people that cared about me. Well, when I first did ecstasy, it was my parents didn't. I was doing it for a while. After a trip I took to Lebanon, and I was in a rave scene, and my parents heard about it, and they didn't want to believe it. So they finally found like 100 ecstasy pills hidden in the ceiling of my basement, and they were actually so shocked, and they didn't know what it was. They just threw it away. They didn't want to believe it. They just didn't care. They didn't speak about it until one day I got into a car accident, and I came home and I was broken down, and it seemed like everything was falling apart. So I just confessed to them. And when I told them, they had already been acting weird for a while, and they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to say. They were so embarrassed, ashamed to talk to anyone, ask for help, that they just cried with me, and they sent me to a detox program in Michigan, and yeah, I played it off as if I wanted to stop. I think I only wanted to stop to eliminate my consequences of crashing my car, driving under the influence, and just being weak, emotionally weak. They were destroyed when they found out I was doing heroin. When they found out ecstasy, they were pretty mad. They're pretty mad. They didn't know what to do because they had already talked to me about marijuana. They were drug testing me, and I was already failing and making up excuses or using fake pee, and them catching me with that, and not knowing what to do, taking me to church on the weekends, taking me to a priest to anoint me. I mean, they were going to all kinds of measures. And keep in mind, my family's very religious. They're Catholic people, and they raised me in Catholic school my whole life, and they didn't know what to do. I mean, they were my parents. I'm their life. I'm their life. To this day, they have a hard time, leaving me on my own because they're so afraid. They're so afraid of what's going to happen because they put so much into me, so much effort, so much of their life is me. I am their life, and that's what I took advantage of. And when they found out I was doing heroin, my mom slapped me in the face. I stole one of her nicest bracelets at this point, like $10,000, and it was a bracelet given to her for my parents' 18th wedding anniversary, and I stole it. And I sold it at a pawn shop just for a couple quick grand, and I stole a few other things. I had already been stealing money from my dad, whether from his store. He trusted me working at his business. I would just embezzle money out of there, take money out of his out of his own savings at home or the bank, and they were so destroyed. They started calling my friends, blaming them, telling them that my dad told them that never stay out of my face, stay away from my family, wish hell upon other people, because they couldn't believe that their son was doing that. I'd never seen my dad cry. My mom had never ever slapped me until then. I've never seen such good people that work so hard suddenly feel so empty. And me myself, telling myself that I feel sorry for them and I'm sorry and I want to change, and really it's that I feel sorry because I'm never gonna feel better, because I had that feeling of insecurity, of emotional weakness, of being unhappy because of the things that I was doing. And that's why I thought I was sorry for them, because I myself was so empty. But really I wasn't sorry for them, because if I had the drugs, if I had something to fill me up, I wouldn't care. And that's what's so sick about it. That's what's so sick about the lifestyle I was living that brought me to that point. It wasn't the money that I took from them. It wasn't the bracelets. It was how could someone so close to you take something of such high value to you? Someone who you trust with your own life and everything, completely take that and crush it with no remorse. And that is where they feel like they went wrong, but they didn't. They just loved me unconditionally. They wanted me to live a good and prosperous life with as much opportunity. I just took that. I took those opportunities and I flipped them around and used them for negative things. It's just like receiving federal aid. There's many people that pull themselves out of poverty and do well with their lives, and there's many people that take that money and go spend it on drugs and alcohol and continue to live that life. It's an opportunity that we're given. It's an opportunity that I was given, and I chose to use it for my own selfish needs instead of looking at the future and the bigger picture. They might have been able to do some things differently. Could they have changed the outcome? That's a tough question. I'd like to say no, because I'm so stubborn and I think I would have done whatever I wanted to do. But I think that the tough love concept might have done something. Might have done something, because there would be if they didn't enable me, if they would have just cut me loose when I was younger and let me experience some hard times on my own without them to pull me out of it, maybe I would have learned my lesson. Maybe now. I mean, I could have used other people. I had other family and friends, and it might have eventually happened, but I don't think that would have been the best idea, because to them they said, well, okay, well, we're gonna kick him out of the house, which they did a few times. Okay, now he's gonna be on the street and he's in harm. He's in harm's way. He could get hurt, and that was their theory was, you know what? Well, better we keep him with us. It was a hard thing to weigh out. It was either, okay, let my son kill himself in front of me, or maybe just let my son kill himself in the streets and have zero control out of it, where I have a little control at home. I don't think they could have changed anything. I think that they were the best parents, and they are the best parents, and the amount of love they have for their child is incredible. For myself and my sister, I feel like I feel like unconditional love is a love that that people like Gandhi had, people like Jesus had, people that will do anything for the people they love, and I think they still will. So I don't think anything would have changed. I think maybe I would have learned some more lessons, but I think they did the best they could. They did the best any parent could. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. I grew to become very selfish, and I don't think anything could have changed it. I don't think anybody in the world could have changed it except myself. accept myself, being willing to change with a little bit of guidance and some limitations around me. That's how I change. That's how I changed. It had to be myself. I don't think anyone else. If I could change anything, it would probably be never hanging out with the wrong kids my first year in high school. I had the opportunity to go to at the time, the #2 high school in the nation, and it was my first time going to a public school. It was the only year I ever went to public school. And like I said, I did really well in school prior to that and then, but I went there and I found it a little challenging, so I started giving up. And as I started giving up and trying to do things the easy way, I found other people that wanted to do things the easy way. So we started cheating, we started changing our grades, we started lying. It was just one bad behavior will attract you to another person with another bad behavior, and since that's what I was attracted to, it introduced me to more people that did things farther down the line, and things escalated. It was trying to fit in high school and wanting to just have fun, and that's what it was. I just wanted to have fun, and I found kids that just wanted to have fun too. And wherever you go, there'll always be someone that has more, and that's just what I seeked. I sought more, and everyone had more. There's always someone with more. So I would go and look for the next level, until really, there was nothing else, nowhere else to go. I was as low as it gets.